working. But I take his point because he is free to make expressions on things that he did not find in our presentation. But I do, as an elder, want to say that I remember he made some analogy on the issue of UMK, I guess, Mr. Ngobes Mhlambe, who was speaking about a target of a certain sport. I think the interpretation may, in my view, is different from Mr. Ngobese and Mr. Bloss, but obviously, but I do want to say respect sometimes plays a very critical role, whether there's a democracy, there's a freedom of speech, and so on and so forth. But respect is very important in how we present our cases. It's just something that I just wanted to raise as an elder in particular. But I really feel that yes, correctional services, some people come back having rehabilitated and some don't. And even if uthola sebekhishiwe ejele babuye babuyele futhi uqinisile kodwa i-government that cares, that has got to take corrective measures other than punitive measures. But all in all, members have the right to indicate what they think the solutions are going to be. And I agree with them. It should not be only July that should be celebrated. It should be a man that will live to protect women and children for the longest period of time that we have in life. And thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Sibonga kakhulu Mphemba. Also kungenzeka kube khona abagcine bengakwazanga ukukhuluma. Sizocela ukuthi basende their issues ebesafuna ukuziletha kule number elandela ku WhatsApp 066 503 2194. And also let's also welcome our Premier. Though with his busy schedule, he also made it to address our seminar. We are saying, yes, you are a leader of the people by able to create his card ukuthi nathi uzos address in this seminar, Premier. Siyabonga kakhulu isikhathi sengisinikeza wena.
Thanks, Chairperson, Honorable Chairperson of this program, Honorable Kulu, Honorable Chairperson of our committee, Honorable Mbatha-Cele, the Deputy Speaker of the Legislature, Honorable Ndobe, my colleagues in the Executive, Honorable Ntuli, MEC for Community Safety and Liaison, Honorable members, the youth who is part of this program, compatriots who are also viewing this program from various platforms. We thank you, honorable members, for taking the opportunity to participate in this session that is the Young Men's Seminar. This seminar takes place as we, together with the whole world, are battling with the threat of coronavirus pandemic. As we battle these threats, it is important that all sectors of our society remain central to the program of government, also the young people of our country. And therefore, we thank you, Chair of the Standing Committee on Quality of Life, for ensuring that we're having this debate. But we also thank MEC Ntuli for his presentation, as well as the address on behalf of the legislature by our Deputy Speaker, Honorable Ndobe. I think, Honorable Ndobe, it is befitting and correct for me to indicate that such a platform is dedicated on an issue of ensuring that we discuss not as political parties, but the youth from across all sectors and ensure that we discuss generally to ensure that we get genuine views of the youth beside their political affiliations. And correctly so, I'm also aware that through the legislature, you always call political parties to speak, especially young people are convened through the youth parliament, where they come in wearing their hats of their political parties and they then make political reflection on issues. This seminar focuses on the role of boys and young men as agents of change, as agents of growth and development of the province of KwaZulu-Natal, and ensure that the province is becoming one of those that is idealized and one of those that attain the goals of the Freedom Charter and become a united, non-racial, non-sexist, and a prosperous province. We are reminded by the United Nations that by current numbers, 70% of sub-Saharan Africa's population is under the age of 80. The forecast also tells us, Honorable Chair, that by 2050, one out of 3 young people in the world will be living in Africa. This also represents the tells us that will be a representation of 743 million of the population of 1.061 billion. That population will be equal to the United States of America and Canada combined. That tells you that Africa is home to a number of people, more than 1 billion, but most of them are youth. And in 2050, at least close to half of them will be youth and living in urban areas. This demographics has a significant implication for our economic activity, public service provision, and the general stability, as young people have been engaging on the issue of gender-based violence, on the issue
ngathi ubalekile
Awu, ngithi amadatha aphelile. Awu, comrades.
Kuzeni hayi kubalekile
Uqala amadatha please.
Hayi uthelelwe my young man ngokuthi aphela amadatha.
Cela amadatha qabasha.
Benilokhu nidla kumadatha kapheli.
nocisha ukuthi i-network
Cela amadatha qabasha ngeke.
Network bo.
Amadatha.
Cela
Sizani
amadatha.
uFimia.
Hayi network impela nakimi kubuhiqi la. I-network bahlonishwa.
Oh yeah, maka siyithi phuma kubheka.
so cela nje sibekezele kancane. I'm sure it will be sorted just now.
Akuthenga lo mhlonishwa amadatha please.
Umhlonishwa athathe esikhwameni se-COVID, I think, I mean, really.
Uyakwazi ukulala.
You are not disciplined.
Namo. But
Uchakunik.
Can we at least get one image of any person?
Engathi kuzophela lawo wethu amadatha manje.
Yomelelana umuntu omdala uyalindwa bafethu.
If this was not virtual, we have best out in song just to wait for the premier while ilungisi mic. But since this is a virtual meeting, there will be no.
Honorable Chair, I'm not sure whether I'm still connected.
Yes, you are now connected, Sihlalo. Ngaqhubeka. Yes, Honorable Premier, you are connected now.
Hello?
Yes, you are now connected, Sihlalo, Premier.
Thank you. I'm very sorry for that disconnection. I think it's a place, but I will navigate. Former President wakwaxoxa indaba wathi indoda yaboshwa Robben Island for 10 years. Yathi miphume Robben Island yayiboshwe kade addressa abantu. So yathi miphuma nje yanikwa ithuba loku-addressa yasithi as I was interrupted here. Yaqala lapho yaqhuba, so nami as the technology failed me on this point, I must indicate that, Honorable Chairperson, the demographics that are depicted by various studies indicates that we need to prepare ourselves for economic activity, public service provision, and state stability that will ensure that young people have a maximum participation. We are, of course, worried that according to the International Labour Organization, over 160 million of the youth in the third world countries are living in poverty. It is equally said that their unemployment level is increasing in their respective countries. With South Africa having a high unemployment rate of about 30.1%, therefore, this should now indicate the burden we are having as a responsibility of building the youth for the future. The young man of today faces the prospect of a world that is far different from that of other previous generations. Yet, in the manner that previous youth, it too must stand on the shoulders of those who came before them. We face an unprecedented pandemic and are entering an uncharted territory. Usually, we must face these challenges together and ensure that we work and unite with the people as we continue. Honorable Chair, I believe I'm still audible to you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. We've taken a collective aim of ensuring that as the society we navigate the challenges that have affected us. It is a pandemic of the coronavirus, but that on its own came on top of another pandemic that was already in existence in our society, that of gender-based violence. We must uproot gender-based violence in all sections of our societies. Wonke ama-generations abakhona abanama-strategic task okumele awalide. I-generation yobaba uMlangeni, obaba uMandela, oHarry Gwala, omama uWinnie Mandela, o-Albertina Sisulu nabanye yasiholela ekutheni sithole inkululeko. But the generation of 1976 is equally celebrated nationally and even globally for its role in the June 16 uprising, which mobilized young people in their numbers to take up arms against the apartheid regime, whilst the youth of 1980s responded to the call and made South Africa ungovernable and the system of apartheid unworkable. They mobilized for an overwhelming defeat of the apartheid system. So as such, Frantz Fanon remind us, and I quote, each generation must, out of its relative obscurity, discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it. Close quote. To the youth of today, we have a role to play. The future belongs to you. What role our young boys plays is determined by the challenges they face today. Their part in history will be written by their own sweat and tears and their ability to fight stereotypes about the capacity of young people in comparison to the old people. Honorable Chair, I'm happy ukuzwa umuntu omusha namuhla athi asingakhulumi noma ikanjani ngabantu besifazane. Omunye azathi umuntu akabe nomuntu oyedwa achamela kubo as if uyamona umuntu wesifazane. And asebenzise amagama amabi afana nalawo. Lokhu kubuyisa ithemba ukuthi intsha yanamuhla is understanding ama-challenges ebhekene nawo, but is determining i-future eyakhayo. Honorable Chair, in the book titled Becoming a Man, the vet Professor Maloselanga decries the uses of the negative term to describe the youth of today. He alludes to a number of terms that have been used referring to young people, whether the lost generation, Yizo, and all others. But he says becoming a man explores how adolescent boys negotiate their transition to adulthood in the context of the predominantly working class townships that we live in. And unlike many before, Professor Langa's studies focus not only on the youth in prison, in gangsters, or in the youth committing crime. Instead, his approach emphasizes the focus on positive image of boys in order to construct the positive masculinities that are necessary to create a new society that is gender sensitive and protect women and girls by bringing up responsible boys. I'm sure that Okshiwomfu Ayanda Hadebe resonate with what Professor Langa was saying. Ukuthi abantu abasha bane role abangayidlala ngokuthi bayipromote ngokwezemfundo, basipromote ngokukhanda ama-careers abo sustainable futhi azokwazi ukuthi abakhandi bangabi sengathi ey'ndaweni la njengabayipresente khona njengeyindlovu ngaphakathi ebantwini. This is in line with the view of our own provincial government, that young people should be the reservoir of knowledge. They should be given material time, the afforded platform to unleash their potential. Indeed, this is the majority of the youth of our country and province, who are ambitious and are willing to sweat and sacrifice for the betterment of the circumstances by adopting an alternative version of masculinity, by alternative ensuring that they don't become violent, but embrace non-violent, non-risk-taking, non-homophobic, and non-sexist approach. This entails rejecting the dominant view that a young man needs to be violent, a young man needs to defy teachers' authority at school, or a young man needs to have multiple girlfriends to show that he is really a boy. And I'm sure that uSifiso Dlamini ubekhuluma ngakho lokhu methi amanye lama programs akangagcini nje siwaxoxa la as if a product or they should be resolved at a talk show level, but we must cascade these programs down. And that is what I would want to assure this platform in this session. The transition to manhood should not be defined by violence, risk behavior taking, or exploitation toward girls and women. We must ensure respect, and as indicated, this seminar is an opportune moment for reflection on what we've done so far, and thanks to all of you young people of our province for being bold to tell us what you think of and what should be the priorities that we should engage on. We must assure you we are engaged on a long-term program based on the priorities of the 6th administration. And our priorities are anchored on economic transformation and job creation, education, skills revolution, and health, wage, social wage and spatial development, human settlement, and the development of local government that is responsible to the needs of the people. We are standing here advancing the program of social cohesion and safety community. But we as people of KwaZulu-Natal should equally make our own contribution to the betterment of Africa and the world and ensure that we are a capable society that will participate in the socio-economic development of our global world as we see it today. In particular, the right to equality, which we discussed, Honorable Deputy Speaker, earlier today, is enshrined to the Bill of Rights in the Constitution and declares that everyone is equal before the law and has a right to equal protection and benefit of law. And therefore, the earlier debate, which was dedicated to the launch of Women's Month, but also dedicated to mark the day, the anniversary of the Pan-African Women Conference, is resonating with this debate and the contribution that a number of you have made today. We continue to pilot programs targeting men and young boys as part of the integration and intergenerational nature of transition from boy into or from being a youth to adulthood. All studies indicate the importance of positive role models for young boys, even when these are not available in the immediate families. And I must affirm that there is no broken family, and as the society we have a responsibility ukuthi sipandishana amanxeba siphile ndawonye. Ngokwesintu akukho umuntu ongathiwa intandane, and therefore la sibona khona ukuthi kwamakhelwana akuhambi kahle kumele sibe seduze ukukhava sonke sikwazi ukuthi siye phambili siyisizwe esisodwa. Many boys have grown into responsibility and became adult, not because of what, but because of the manner in which they were nurtured by their parents. The Provincial Men's Forum in KwaZulu-Natal is one of such platforms where we should nurture role model for our youth. And as part of our integral program of the Provincial Men's Forum, there are a number of programs we are coordinating as the Premier's office, but I know that 13 departments have specific programs that are targeting young boys. And these programs are focusing on promotion of culture of human rights, gender equality, the fight against social ills, social cohesion, and economic emancipation. During 2020, the Men's Month, 2019, Honorable Chair, the Men's Month program involved a number of events, including the Provincial Men's Imbizo, Men in Uniform Parade, Men's Dialogue, and Men's Debate. But more so, we convened a number of sessions which were under the program of Boys to Men. Boys to Men was one of the critical programs that we ran throughout KwaZulu-Natal. Dedicated seminars on young men entrepreneurship empowerment were also held. Equally, as reported earlier by MEC Ntuli, the issue of the launch of shelters for abused men of all age was prioritized and launched during the 2019. So, it is not that we are just talking from here. And according to our stakeholder strategy, we have a program of ensuring that from the province we create structures to district, to local municipalities, and cascade to ward level. So these programs, I fully concur with Fiso Dlamini that these programs must not end here, but they must go down. It is important that we continue to engage on critical issues. We must highlight the importance of positive male role models. We must focus and ensure to provide a platform for men to engage with other men on important issues that affect them. One issue raised especially by his worship, the mayor of eThekwini, Councillor Kaunda, that we must dissuade ourselves of this notion ethi umuntu wesilisa akakhali, and therefore umuntu wesilisa ukhala ngaphakathi. Ukhala ngaphakathi kusho ukuthi uphila negqubu. We must ensure we create platforms where we engage. Abantu besilisa ba-engage baxoxe. Equally, we must raise awareness on programs ezokwazi ukukhanda abantu besilisa abadala babe nani noku-engageana nabafana. Yingakho sinohlelo oluthi inkunzi isematholini. But defining men's role in the community, family, and in a relationship, the man's role should be defined by care. It should be defined by being responsible and provide protection. We are committed to invest in the development of the youth and young men in particular. We're committed to invest in the tertiary education, vocational trainings, skills development, agriculture and food security, health, labor-intensive job creation opportunities, as well as entrepreneurship. I must take this opportunity to thank the Department of Agriculture for a platform they convened for the youth in agriculture, attended by both young boys and girls, and showing quite a keen interest in growing the agricultural sector as a critical sector that is not fading with time, but that's always. Our programs also seek to engage civil society at large, including the religious sector, the traditional leaders, and all of us should be together in building young people who are going to be the future, and the future we are going to be proud of. And therefore, this generation of young men must play a role in the prevention of teenage and unplanned pregnancy. You must play a role as young men in the prevention of sexual transmission infection. All sexual transmitted infections must be prevented. You must, as young men, play a role in the prevention of drugs, alcohol abuse, and substance abuse. We must together stand against social ills. We encourage our young people to take advantage of economic empowerment programs that are spearheaded by our government. These include the KwaZulu-Natal Youth Business Development Fund, which fund youth-owned businesses, which support entrepreneurship. We have also the YES program or the strategy, which young people must be and ensure that they try to get opportunities that cascade from this strategy. We encourage young men to take their education serious. Chinese would say, you study as if you are going to live forever, but you work as if you are going to die tomorrow. And that is the spirit which we want to inculcate to young men of today. Our country needs you, and we are confident that, like the previous generation of the youth, you will rise to the occasion, and your leadership will be felt once you assume the leadership role of this country in various sectors, in government, in the economy, in the traditional leadership sector, in churches. The future belongs to you. As government, we wish you to remember that we have your best interest at heart. Don't forget that your country needs you, and we will do all we can to invest in your skills, your potential, so that we've got a better South Africa, a better KwaZulu-Natal, but contribute in shaping the global world. Chairperson and all participants, I wish to thank you a lot for this engagement, and I'm one of those who have benefited a lot from the engagement we have had today. I thank you, Chairperson.
Siyabonga kakhulu to our premier ukube bekumhlangano impela bengizothi akushaya ngicabanga ukuthi ugcwele manje abaya nawo emakhaya. I'm sure going back home bazoqala baba ma pioneers, baba ma leaders to lead, to protect our communities to out there. And then also let's appreciate our women out there and love them. Siyabonga kakhulu ku premier. Asiqhubekeni, and then our next speaker ke manje sizothola a way forward by our honorable chair, Honorable Mbatha Cele, Chairperson of Quality of Life Standing Committee. Over to you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Program Director, Honorable Xolo. Thank you very much, Honorable Premier, for addressing abantu abasha bakwaZulu-Natal abasafisa ukukhuliswa ukuze babe ngamadoda aqotho. Sikuzwile konke KZN okushilo. Siyazi ukuthi nabo futhi bazwile bazokuthatha konke lokho okushilo. Nanokuthi you have programs e-ofisini lika Premier akhuluma ngezinto ezithinta abantu abasha, including bona abantu abasha abasebancane esilisa. Sibonge kakhulu eKhuzeni. Siyazi ukuthi ubusy kwezinye izinhlelo onazo, kodwa siyabonga ukuthi usenzile lesikhathi esincane ositholile ukuthi ube nathi kule seminar yabantu abasha besilisa bakwaZulu-Natal. Njengomuntu wesilisa okuyena first citizen kwe-province yethu, we appreciate it a lot ukuthi ke ube khona. Thank you, Honorable Premier. Ngiyafisa ke ukuza ne-way forward kukho konke esixoxile namhlanje. But before ngingene kwi-way forward, ngiyafisa nje ukusho ukuthi uma siza kuma platforms anjengala which talks to gender-based violence, asipoliticize, asikhulumi indaba yamapolitiki ukuthi wena we-opposition wena uyini, because ukuhlukunyezwa kwabantu besifazane akunayo ipolitiki. Akekho umuntu wesifazane othi mayehlukunyezwa afika abuzwa kuqala ukuthi which party wena obelonga kuyo bese uyahlukunyezwa. So I'm appealing to you, ngiyazi ukuthi nisengabantu abasha, nisakhula, nisazofunda izinto eziningi, ukuthi let us not politicize the issue of gender-based violence.